back against the wall, I either go all the way filthy or I fall back and I have this sort of chink in my armor for the rest of time.
That Drake is biracial, so I'm looking at it from a black and white perspective, okay? His daddy's side engaged in a rap battle. His daddy said, go out there and fight, go out there and fight. And then when Kendrick busted his ass, his mama's side said, oh no, Aubrey, we going to the police.
So I tried my best to stay out of the whole Drake versus UMG legal circus for months. I thought people were over it. The story was milk dry. And honestly, I figured there was nothing left to say until a real verdict dropped. But surprise, surprise, Christmas came early for Drizzy, the Lord above, and even the federal judge in charge of the mess. Judge Vargas just granted a full motion to dismiss the entire case. Yeah, it's done. No dragging it through another year, no endless appeals, no courtroom drama, just over. That's wild considering how deep this feud had gotten. Now, for anyone who forgot, Drake was actually suing his own record label, UMG Recordings, claiming they helped orchestrate an all-out smear campaign against him. The man believed that the hit song, Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, was part of a grand scheme designed to tear down his reputation and twist his public image. You heard that right. Drake thought Kendrick was being used like a puppet by the label just to make him look weak in front of the whole world. And in Drake's mind, this wasn't just about pride, it was about power and money. He claimed this entire plot started because he was up for a major contract renegotiation with UMG. So when Kendrick dropped that brutal track and the internet crowned him the winner, Drake took it as more than just lyrical warfare. He saw it as corporate betrayal. After that lyrical beatdown, Drake was out here feeling like Eduardo from The Social Network, staring at the empire he helped build and realizing he just got cut out of his own kingdom. It's wild how quickly the tables turned. And now with the case dismissed, it feels like the final act in one of hip-hop's most dramatic behind-the-scenes showdowns. So here's where things get crazy. The biggest flaw in Drake's whole argument was that he started and fueled this fire himself. Nobody forced him into it. He'd been throwing slick shots and sneaky bars at Kendrick for years, and Kendrick was matching that energy every single time. Both of them kept feeding this feud like it was their favorite hobby, keeping fans glued to every line and post. Let's be real, hip-hop beefs are like sports for fans. The competition, the tension, the lyrical shots, it's all part of the culture, and we love watching two heavyweights go head-to-head. It's thrilling. So when Drake suddenly started crying foul after the battle didn't go his way, it didn't make much sense. To be fair though, there was a moment where it looked like Drake wanted to make peace. Remember that rumored collab with him, J. Cole and Kendrick? It had that power of friendship saves the day kind of energy, like three kings uniting to end the tension once and for all. But of course, that fairy tale didn't last long. Kendrick straight up rejected the feature request. Cold move. So Drake and J. Cole decided to clap back with first-person shooter, tossing a few lyrical jabs in Kendrick's direction. And Kendrick, he didn't stay quiet for a second. He dropped like that and basically said, "We're not friends, and I've got a few things to say." He made it crystal clear the gloves were off and everyone was a target. And when he threw that subtle smoke toward Cole too, saying, "You can get it too," Cole saw the storm brewing and respectfully tapped out. That left Drake standing alone in the ring, ready to defend his crown. And what followed wasn't just another rap beef, it became one of the most explosive moments in hip-hop history. Man, Drake's image took a serious beating after that whole mess. People from every corner of the internet, teens, adults, even folks who don't listen to rap, were out here dancing to Not Like Us while calling him a PDF. That's brutal. For a guy whose entire career is built on his reputation, that kind of public humiliation cuts deep. And you could tell it was eating him alive. Whether it was the cold shoulder at the Grammys or being the punchline during the Super Bowl when his peers gathered like it was a roast, Drake had to be boiling inside. Every shot, every meme, every little laugh aimed at him must have felt like salt in the wound. So what did he do next? He went full Karen mode. No joke, the most dramatic move hip-hop has ever seen. Instead of dropping bars, he dropped a lawsuit. Drake accused UMG of masterminding an entire plot to ruin him, saying they illegally promoted Kendrick's diss track to destroy his name. He claimed the label used bots, paid radio stations, and boosted streams to make Not Like Us blow up bigger than it ever should have. And he didn't stop there. Drake's team even argued that the track was defamatory and might put him in physical danger. Imagine that, from a man who spent years rapping like a mafia don, suddenly saying he felt threatened by a song. It's wild. The irony hits even harder when you remember this is the same Drake who once backed a campaign to stop prosecutors from using rap lyrics in court. Now he's turning around saying Kendrick's lyrics should have been blocked from release altogether. That's a plot twist nobody saw coming. The whole thing just made the Not Like Like Us drama drag on even longer, and honestly, it might have done more damage to Drake's image than the diss track ever could. Let's be real, Drake's no stranger to disses. This man has thrown shots at dozens of rappers, celebs, even entire companies over the years, and made millions doing it. Every time he dropped a diss track, it climbed the charts, streamed on the same platforms he's now complaining about, and padded his pockets in the process. That's the game he helped build. Now here's where things get messy. If this lawsuit had actually gone in Drake's favor, it would have flipped the whole music industry upside down. Imagine a world where every artist could sue another for something said in a song. It would have been a nightmare for creative freedom. The entire foundation of hip-hop, built on expression and lyrical warfare, would have been in danger. It's wild to even think about. From the start, this was an uphill climb for Drake. Proving defamation as a public figure is already nearly impossible. You've got to show clear intentional harm, and that's a high bar to reach. But even worse for him, his own lyrics didn't exactly help his case. His rebuttals were just as spicy, maybe even more brutal than Kendrick's shots. And get this, Drake wasn't just throwing general shade, he was making some wild personal accusations. He rapped about Kendrick not being married yet, hinted at drama in his relationship, and even accused him of abusing his wife. Then he doubled down and claimed Kendrick's wife, Whitney, had an affair with his best friend, Dave Free, and that they supposedly had a secret child together. That's crossing lines that no lawsuit can clean up. Even the judge pointed that out in the ruling, basically saying, bro, you can't throw mud and then cry that you got dirty. It's poetic justice, really. The same tactics Drake used to dominate hip-hop battles ended up backfiring in a courtroom. The judge didn't hold back. She straight up said that any reasonable person could tell those diss tracks were just heated rap battles filled with exaggerated talk and lyrical jabs. Basically, nobody in their right mind actually believed Drake was some kind of real-life PDF file. The lyrics weren't meant to be taken literally. It was all part of the fiery back and forth that hip-hop is known for. Still, it hit hard because it touched on Drake's weird public relationships with younger stars, something fans had already been side-eyeing for years. And yeah, even Drake's old friendship with then 13-year-old Millie Bobby Brown got dragged into the legal paperwork. That detail alone made everything feel even more awkward. But in the court's eyes, all of this was just talk, artistic expression, not factual claims meant to ruin someone's life. A huge point in the case's dismissal was the judge's stance that opinions can't be treated as defamation. She explained that people should be able to tell the difference between facts and opinions, especially in entertainment. Like you wouldn't take a comedian's joke or a rapper's bar as cold, hard truth the same way you would an investigative report, and if you do, that's on you. But the judge even hinted that this common sense is fading fast, saying something like, in this era, too many people treat podcasts and gossip shows as gospel. And let's be real, she's not wrong. 2025 has people believing whatever headline sounds the spiciest. Things got even messier when Drake started digging deeper during the discovery phase. He asked to see Kendrick's entire business contract with UMG, which raised a lot of eyebrows. Like, what was he even hoping to find there? But then it went left. He also requested documents that might include info about his own biological relationship with his kids and any connections between his circle and Dave Free. That's wild. At that point, it was clear Drake was scrambling for anything that could flip the script. It felt like he was desperate for leverage, trying to find dirt or some hidden clue that could give him an upper hand in the future. Honestly, it screamed panic more than power. For someone used to being in control, it looked like Drake was watching his whole case, and maybe even his cool factor slip right through his fingers. At the end of the day, this lawsuit wasn't about justice, it was Drake trying to save face. He wanted to flip the story, rebuild his image, and somehow turn his loss into a win. But instead, it made his L even louder. The whole thing just looked embarrassing. While the case dragged on, Drake was hyping up his new project Double Ice Iceman through those long live streams, dropping sly comments and still bringing up the battle. He kept hinting that everything was rigged from the start, throwing subliminals at Kendrick and UMG, calling Kendrick their Pinocchio, a puppet they supposedly used to destroy him. He acted like he had some secret bomb ready to drop that would shock everyone, but it never came. His fans, though, ate it up. They swore he was playing 4D chess, but in reality, he was playing Candyland. Every live stream felt like he was promising big revelations that never happened. And his fan base turned it into a full-blown crusade, posting daily, spreading theories, and genuinely believing Drake would end up owning UMG or walking away with billions. When the case got thrown out, that fantasy collapsed fast. people realized the master plan was nothing but smoke and mirrors. The funniest part? Drake actually used tweets from his own fans as evidence in court, like real fan posts plus clips from DJ Academic's live streams, as if that proved anything. Anyone paying attention could see he was reaching hard, trying to turn internet hype into legal proof. What was supposed to be his big comeback move ended up being one of the most awkward chapters of his career, and watching it play out was both tragic and hilarious at the same time. Drake really tried to claim that Kendrick was told to accuse him of weird stuff involving young girls, that the whole Epstein angle was planted from the start. The judge even mentioned that in her notes, basically pointing out how Drake built this entire conspiracy in his head. He wanted everyone to ignore every other diss track in the battle just because Not Like Us was the one that blew up worldwide. And the judge? She completely shut that down. Honestly, it's wild anyone thought Drake had a chance here. He had no solid legal ground and definitely no moral one either. This wasn't about hating or loving Drake. It was just plain ridiculous from the jump. Sure, maybe he felt like UMG was downplaying his value or messing with his future catalog, but suing them over a rap song? That's next level desperation. Let's be real, Drake's almost 40 now. He's still out here trying to play both mob boss and lover boy like he's in two different movies at once. But that version of Drake who could demand whatever he wanted, that era's over. It's like LeBron expecting a 10-year maxed out deal right now. Legendary, sure, but the clock's ticking, and everyone knows it. Since the beef kicked off, Drake's been flooding the scene with track after track, 30, maybe 40 songs, and not a single one has stuck around. The only one that made any noise was Nokia, and even that was a minor spark compared to his old chart toppers. It didn't even hit #1. That's not the Drake we used to know, the one who could own every summer with one hook. So when he came to UMG with demands for hundreds of millions, you can imagine how they reacted. They probably laughed him right out of the meeting room. They saw what everyone else saw, a superstar past his prime, trying to win through lawsuits and sympathy instead of hits and dominance. It's sad, really, but that's the reality. Drake's biggest fight isn't with UMG or Kendrick anymore, it's with time itself. The truth is, UMG already owns most of Drake's golden era, the catalog up to around 2018. That's where all his timeless hits live, the songs that'll still be streaming decades from now. So honestly, the label doesn't even need his new stuff enough to throw him another massive deal. And that's probably why he's been diving headfirst into this whole gambling streamer lifestyle, teaming up with influencers, doing sponsored streams, and attaching himself to anyone trending. He's got bills to pay and a luxury lifestyle to maintain, and those private jets don't fuel themselves. But here's the sad part. Drake didn't have to go down this road. A year ago, people were already saying it. All he had to do was disappear for a bit. Just step back, let fans miss him, let the anticipation build, then come back strong with a polished album and a couple of undeniable hits that "you might have knocked me down, but I'm still standing" energy would have brought everyone right back on his side. Instead, he's done the opposite. He's everywhere, constantly online, constantly talking, trying way too hard to control the narrative, and it's backfired completely. He doesn't look like the confident Drake people admired. He looks like a sore loser who can't stop reliving the moment he got humbled. At this point, it's like that kid who gets knocked out in front of the whole school but keeps showing up every day saying, "That wasn't real, I slipped." Like, bro, everyone saw the punch. You just gotta take the L and move on. Now with the Iceman album rollout, things feel even weirder. The whole campaign was built around this big win Drake was supposedly about to have against UMG. This idea that he was fighting the industry and about to expose some massive truth. But now that the case has been thrown out, that whole storyline just crumbled. The mystery, the suspense, the supposed redemption, it all vanished in one courtroom decision. At this point, the album's not looking like a comeback, it's looking like damage control. And the more Drake keeps pushing this "I'm still the victim" angle, the harder it is to take him seriously anymore. At this point, Drake's fans are still waiting for that mysterious red button he's been teasing for over a year. Newsflash, it's never coming. The whole lawsuit move was peak Karen behavior, dramatic, unnecessary, and kind of embarrassing for someone who once called himself the Sixth God. It felt less like justice and more like him throwing a tantrum because the internet clowned him too hard. From the start, this whole thing looked like an attack on artistic expression. That's why so many people, including me, could never fully back it. Hip-hop has always been about sharp bars and freedom to talk your talk, and Drake trying to turn that into a courtroom case? That's wild. Now he's stuck with this awkward relationship with UMG, the same label that basically made him and still owns most of his prime catalog. They've been boosting his career for over 15 years, and now they hold all the power. And the funniest part, the man who once flexed about being everyone's rich baby daddy now looks like he's got one himself. UMG! They bankroll him, they own his hits, and they control his future releases. Talk about irony. In the end, Drake's ego took the real hit here. It seems like he filed this lawsuit hoping to patch up his reputation or shift the public's focus, but instead, it blew up in his face again. Now he's left looking like the superstar who tried to sue his way out of an L instead of rapping his way through it. But what do you think? Was Drake justified, or was this just one long, expensive meltdown? Let me know down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.